Vocabulary for international diplomacy is essential for discussing diplomatic relations, negotiations, and international affairs. Here's a detailed explanation with examples. 1. Diplomatic relations. 1.1 Bilateral. 1. Definition: involving two parties, often used to describe agreements or discussions between two countries. 2. Example: the leaders held a bilateral meeting to strengthen economic ties. 1.2 Multilateral. 1. Definition: involving multiple parties, typically nations, organizations, or entities. 2. Example: the conference focused on finding multilateral solutions to global challenges. 1.3 Consulate. 1. Definition: a diplomatic office that primarily deals with issues such as visas, passports, and the protection of citizens abroad. 2. Example: he visited the consulate to renew his passport. 1.4 Summit. 1. Definition: a meeting between heads of state or other high-ranking officials, often to discuss critical issues. 2. Example: the two leaders held a summit to address regional security concerns. 2. Diplomatic actions. 2.1 Mediation. 1. Definition: the act of intervening in a dispute to help resolve it. 2. Example: the United Nations played a crucial role in mediating the conflict between the two nations. 2.2 Sanctions. 1. Definition: measures imposed by one or more countries to influence or force another country to change its policies. 2. Example: the international community imposed sanctions in response to human rights violations. 2.3 Ambassadors. 1. Definition: official representatives of one country in another, typically at the highest diplomatic level. 2. Example: the ambassador was tasked with fostering positive relations between the two nations. 2.4 Consensus. 1. Definition: general agreement among a group of people or countries. 2. Example: the negotiations aimed to reach a consensus on the terms of the treaty. 3. Diplomatic language. 3.1 Protocol. 1. Definition: the formal etiquette and rules governing diplomatic relations. 2. Example: adhering to protocol, the leaders exchanged gifts during the state visit. 3.2 Communiqué. 1. Definition: an official statement issued by diplomatic authorities. 2. Example: the joint communiqué outlined the key points discussed during the diplomatic talks. 3.3 Diplomatic immunity. 1. Definition: legal protection granted to diplomats, allowing them to perform their duties without fear of legal repercussions in the host country. 2. Example: the ambassador enjoys diplomatic immunity, exempting them from local laws. 3.4 Memorandum of Understanding, MO. 1. Definition: a formal agreement between two or more parties, often outlining common goals or objectives. 2. Example: the countries signed in MO to enhance cooperation in the fields of education and research. 4. International organizations. 4.1 United Nations, UN. 1. Definition: an international organization founded to promote peace, security, and cooperation among member countries. 2. Example: the issue was brought to the attention of the United Nations for a collaborative solution. 4.2 NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. 1. Definition: a military alliance of North American and European countries committed to mutual defense. 2. Example: the country sought NATO support in response to external threats. 4.3 European Union, EU. 1. Definition: a political and economic union of European countries aimed at fostering cooperation and integration. 2. Example: the member states discussed economic policies during the European Union Summit. 4.4 Non-governmental organization, NGO. 1. Definition: an organization independent of any government, typically engaged in humanitarian, environmental, or social causes. 2. Example: the NGO played a vital role in providing aid to refugees in the conflict zone. 5. Crisis diplomacy. 5.1 Ceasefire. 1. Definition: a temporary suspension of hostilities during a conflict. 2. Example: the two sides agreed to a ceasefire to allow for humanitarian aid delivery. 5.2 De-escalation. 1. Definition: the process of reducing tension or hostility in a conflict. 2. Example: diplomats work toward de-escalation to prevent further violence. 5.3 Humanitarian aid. 1. Definition: assistance provided to alleviate suffering in the aftermath of natural disasters or conflicts. 2. Example: the international community pledged humanitarian aid to the affected region. 5.4 Conflict resolution. 1. Definition: the process of addressing and settling disputes to bring about a peaceful resolution. 2. Example: skilled diplomats engage in conflict resolution to prevent further escalation. Conclusion: a robust vocabulary for international diplomacy is crucial for understanding and engaging in discussions about global affairs. Whether discussing diplomatic relations, crisis management, or international organizations, mastering these terms enhances one's ability to navigate and contribute to conversations on the world stage.